Hello, this is astrologer coach Sonja Francis, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming powerful new moon in 8 degrees of Pisces, which will be exact on February 26th at 9:58 a.m. East Coast time, the US, which is also New York time, or 6:58 a.m. Pacific time in the US, which is also LA time. So this marks the new moon cycle, but it's also a new eclipse cycle, because this is a very powerful new moon, which is also a solar eclipse. Now we'll be talking about the best and most potent time to set new moon intentions for this eclipse cycle towards the end of this video. And please note that eclipse intentions or setting eclipse intentions is slightly different from regular new moon intentions. So stay tuned to hear how to do that. Now, eclipses take place approximately every 6 months. And so this solar eclipse basically is like the ending of the last eclipse cycle that started in September, in the beginning of September. And eclipses have like 19-year cycles where we're moving through the same signs in a particular eclipse every 19 years. And so each 19-year cycle begins another 19-year cycle. So the last solar eclipse that we had in that same degree of Pisces was back in February 26th of 1998. So if you still remember what was going on at that time, we're likely to experience a resonance between now and that time. So 19 years ago, and you really want to think of it as resonant rather than identical, right? It's not going to be identical, but the energy will feel very similar. And so think back to like spring and summer of 1998 and just ask yourself, were there any major endings and beginnings at that time for you, if you do remember it? And what was important back then for you? And if there were a call this time to take those periods to the next level, so whatever happened in 1998, to take that to the next level, where would that next level find you? Okay, so what might you be able to do this time around? Now, if you're looking for more guidance on those questions, I would suggest to look at your natal chart, your birth chart, because the house placement of this eclipse will indicate which area of your life you're most ready to take to the new level of consciousness. And in order to understand how to look that up in your birth chart, if that appeals to you, check out my 30-minute class on how to read your birth chart. You may also want to purchase the MP4 recording of our most recent forecasting forum, where we looked more directly at our own birth charts to see how this solar eclipse will affect each one of us. So that's available. And actually this week, from February 20th until the 24th, I'm offering a 20% discount on that forum in form of a rebate. You can purchase that via my website at astrologercoach.com. Now, if you want to get a free copy of that entire recording, that's also possible if you sign up for the next 2 forecasting forums for March and April in advance. You can also do that on my website at astrologercoach.com, and then you will automatically receive the last forecasting forum for free that we just did in February. All right. Now, solar eclipses take us to the next level of our evolution. So there is a shift in our consciousness. And so this shift is connected with this particular eclipse will unfold over the next 6 months. So the sun and the moon are connected to the moon nodes during the eclipse. And in this case, and this is true for all eclipses, but in this case, it's a South Node eclipse, which means that the sun and the moon are connected to the South Node in Pisces. And so this can really help us release energies or attachments that no longer serve our soul's evolution in connection with the Pisces energy. And so this particular eclipse cycle which was in Pisces, in the Pisces Virgo polarity, started in March of 2015 and is now coming to an end. So 2017 is the last of the Pisces Virgo eclipses that we will experience. And in fact, it will be the last South Node eclipse in Pisces until March of 2034. So this is a really long time period. Now, Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and so therefore it connects to our spiritual journey. So it represents really your reunion with Source, with God, with the universe. And Pisces at its highest vibration really unifies all dualities, and it is completely aware of the oneness of all things. And it tells us that there is union within. So inside of us, we can explore that union. So it's not just a connection to the universe outside of us, but also to the universe inside of us. And that union always exists, and that we can always tap into it, that's always a choice that we have. Now, Pisces is very accepting and aware of the eternal nature of things, and allows all lovingly, because it knows that there's no real separation between things, that separation only exists in the mind. And it allows for everything to be as it is. Now, at a lower vibrational level, Pisces feels separate, fearful, or victimized. And we usually move towards the lower vibrations of a sign when we're not able to connect from within, when we're in a fear mode. That's when we usually connect to the lower vibrations of a sign. So Pisces at its lowest vibration wants to escape the harsh realities, or the harsh physical realities of this world. And so when we get trapped in this lower vibration, we do not go within, we don't connect to our inner divinity, and we do not trust ourselves and our inner processes and our intuitive selves. So that's really when we're being connected to that lower vibration. So ask yourself, what stops me from connecting to my inner divinity? What in my day-to-day life stops me from doing that? And what if I opened myself up to the perfection of life, and to really see the perfection in everything, to see the perfection in everything that maybe seems even imperfect to you? And what if I trusted the universal timing of all things, everything that occurs, that there is a timing for everything, and that timing is always perfect, right? Even if it doesn't seem that way to the mind. Now, all the questions of this video, and as always, are also available on my website at astrologercoach.com. So feel free to go there if you want to use the questions for meditations, or for journaling, or for anything else. Go to my website and click on weekly forecasts after February 19th. And if you want to receive my weekly forecasts via email, you can also get that by just emailing us at info@astrologercoach.com and just writing weekly forecasts in the subject line, and my assistant will add you to that mailing list. All right. Now, since South Node eclipses invite us to become aware of the lower vibrations of a sign and release energies or attachments that no longer serve our evolution, we are really invited right now and for the next 6 months to become more aware of Pisces' lower vibrational behaviors and thought forms. So we can really start to release them and move towards a higher vibration of that sign. And this is also very much about bringing this higher vibration of Pisces to our decision-making process, bringing that to the Virgo energy, because the moon nodes are always connected, right? If there's a south node, there's a north node. And if the south node is in Pisces, the north node is in Virgo, which means that we're really needing to bring the Piscean energy in a healthy way to that Virgo polarity, which is all about, how do we make decisions, discernment, how do we understand what works and what doesn't work in our lives. So this powerful new moon also aligns with Neptune, Mercury, and the South Node in Pisces, like I already mentioned. And so this amplifies the message to really connect right and left brain. So, the intuitive and the rational, and to tune into our intuitive thought forms to improve our rational decision-making process, right? Again, it's like bringing the Pisces energy and connecting it with the Virgo energy in a healthy way. And so the next 6 months may be really our best chance ever to release any fears connected to feeling separate, releasing any wishful and victim-based thinking, or also any addictive behaviors that support escapism, because Pisces tends to want to escape reality on that low vibration, right? So we're getting a chance to release those things within the next 6 months, individually speaking and collectively speaking. and to really just open our minds and hearts, really connecting that mind-heart energy, that mind-heart connection. Because, Mercury is on the South Node. So Mercury is about our mind, our thinking, our processing information. And to really see the unification of all there is, really see that flow and that connection between things. And so we're really invited to go beyond our conditioning from the past, specifically our mental conditioning, and really release what no longer is in alignment with our heart, our inner knowingness, our true selves, that inner divinity. And so compassion is really a key factor here, because compassion is the warrior energy of the heart. And in particular, self-compassion. I found that it's easier for most of us to have compassion towards something outside of ourselves, but much harder to have compassion with ourselves. So focusing on self-compassion can be very powerful, and that can really get us more connected to that heart energy. And that really also guides us to truly understand how we can connect with the divine, with the universe, and with each other from a heartfelt place. So ask yourself here, what results might I get if I tapped into my inner courage, my inner sensing, or you could maybe also call it your intuition, and compassion all at the same time? So let me say that again, because this is a long question, but it's a very powerful, wonderful question to ask yourself and to just be with for the next 6 months. What results might I get if I tapped into my inner courage, my inner sensing, and compassion all at the same time? Now, another part of this solar eclipse chart is Venus, Mars, and Uranus are all in Aries at the time of this eclipse. And so this supports our inner courage. It's definitely an action-oriented and direct approach to life. And so Venus is actually stationing at the time of the eclipse. It's slowing down, preparing to go retrograde on March 4th. And so therefore the energy of Venus is exalted. The energy feels stronger within us. So this brings an awareness to what we value and how we relate to others. And so we're more eager to go after what we want. Aries is sort of like a let's move, let's get there. It's maybe also an impulsive, impatient energy a little bit. So we're more eager to go after what we want and what we feel passionate about. Aries is very passionate. And so Venus in Aries wants that passion. And so we're also more aware of passion in our relationships, or the lack thereof, if there isn't any, right? We're becoming more aware of that. And what we feel passionate about when we're connecting with other people, and wanting to connect with other people from that place of passion. So pay attention to what's in your face right now. Ask yourself, what's important to me? Where do I overvalue something? Where do I feel undervalued? What are my physical impulses telling me at this time? What needs to be brought back into balance in my life? In particular around my personal goals or what I want from life, and again, what role does passion play in all of that? And so we also go into this in more detail in our next forecasting forum in March. So if you want to know how the Venus retrograde is going to impact you personally, feel free to join us. We will be applying what's coming up to our own birth charts, as we always do with these forums. And so this forum will be on March 13th at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time and 9 p.m. London time. And so for more info or to register for that, feel free to go to my website and just click on the link below the Saturn and Sagittarius video and go from there. All right. Now let's go back to the solar eclipse. Mars and Uranus are very closely aligned, almost one. And so this encourages us to move things forward, especially things we feel passionate about. And so we're really ready to change the status quo in our own lives and collectively. So since this alignment can really bring up lots of nervous energy, we also may experience sudden spurts of energy moving through our bodies or through our physical bodies. So just be aware of that and allow that to happen, and get grounded on a regular basis. Just like when there's lightning in the sky and it needs to find a way to ground into the earth, that's kind of what it feels like. It feels a little bit like lightning going through our bodies. And so we need to find a way to ground ourselves to the earth. We also need to maybe channel that energy, which can feel a little bit disruptive sometimes, in a healthy way. So one thing that comes to mind in order to do that would be exercise, for example, just using our bodies in a way where we can use that erratic energy. Like hula hooping, for example, or martial arts can be a great way to really focus that energy into a healthy channel. Healthy debates can be really wonderful for this energy. Brainstorming about reforms that we want to make in our own lives or collectively, that can be a great outlet as well. And though this is true for all of us in general, this is particularly strong for people who have Mars very strong in their natal chart, or a lot of Aries signatures in their natal charts. So I want, for those of you who have that very strongly, really pay particular attention to what I'm about to say, which is be aware of taking sudden rash actions. Mars, Uranus tends to want to take sudden rash actions. Take responsibility for your desires and impulses at this time, and really ask yourself, is this in the interest of everyone involved? Am I using my warrior energy to protect or defend future visions and support the individual, or to simply defy and rebel? Right? And this is, I think, a very powerful question to ask yourself when you're trying to move with this energy. Another really fantastic question to ask yourself is, am I asserting myself to affect real change, or simply downloading or releasing my anger to dominate, disrupt, or separate myself further from other people? Again, this is a very powerful question to ask with that combination. And also check to see, are there any situations in my life that I feel limited by, where I feel like I need to consciously break away from those situations? So what would it take to consciously break away from those situations, if there are any situations that feel limiting right now? So since Mars is aligning with Uranus in Aries, it is therefore also triggering this beautiful T-square that we've been talking about since last November, that's been in our experience, energetically speaking, for quite a while. And that's involving Pluto in Capricorn and Jupiter in Libra with the Aries planets. And so we feel the triggers the strongest with this T-square on February 22nd and March 1st, when the moon also gets involved with this T-square, not just Mars, but the moon as well, right? So pay attention to the urges you feel on those 2 days, especially during the afternoon in the US time zones. February 22nd might not be the best time to start something brand new. First of all, because it's right before the eclipse becomes exact, and also because it is a time where we're trying to finish something up. We're trying to complete projects or wrap things up that have been in the works already since last October. Okay, so take a focus more on that rather than brand new things. And on March 1st, you may find yourself wanting to move forward with new projects or ideas that you're having. And if that happens organically and is something that you have been preparing for, definitely go ahead with that. That's a great day to do that. However, if it's something completely brand new that just came up and you feel this urge inside of you to move forward with it right away, you may want to wait until March 12th or beyond, after eclipse season is over, because you might not have all the information that you need yet. Okay, I hope this makes sense. I have mentioned this before in previous videos. But, to have a better idea of what this T-square is all about, that we've been kind of like moving with and adjusting with and growing with, feel free to read my article on the subject, or watch some of my previous new moon, full moon videos that I have posted since November 2016. You can access all of this on my website at astrologercoach.com by clicking on weekly forecasts on that link, and then look for astrology articles or astrology videos. There's two links. One is astrology articles, the other one is astrology videos on the left side of that page. And click on those links, or you can also email us at info@astrologercoach.com and write T square in the subject line, and then my assistant will email you that article as well. All right, so whatever works best for you. Now, eclipses are definitely a time for clarifying and affirming our highest path. That's the opportunity, really, right? And so we're bound to experience some releases and recalibrations. Old codes will get deleted, and new programming is being downloaded at the time of these eclipses. So especially in connection with emotional and intuitive intelligence right now, right? Because it's in Pisces. So suppressing or denying our feelings and intuitive gifts is just no longer wise at this time. You know, we're really being invited to open up more to those intuitive gifts and be more aware than ever that we're all one, that everything is connected via energy. Everything is energy, everything is connected, and everything is in a continuous flow and movement. There's always movement because energy always needs to move. It does not ever stop moving. Energy doesn't do that. So each of us is really, you could think of it like each of us is like a drop of water appearing to be individual, yet also a part of the big ocean of life. And I love that analogy of the ocean because I think it's just so powerful, because the ocean really connects to everything. It connects to land, it connects to the animal kingdom, it connects to the air. Our ocean really is like in contact with everything. And so this teaches us, or that shows us very clearly, that we are the sum of all parts, right? We are always connected in the sum of all parts, whether that's physical, spiritual, emotional, mental. All that exists is part of the whole, and so are we. So since 2015, when these eclipses started happening in Pisces and Virgo, we have really been trying to learn that our feeling body is just as valuable as our physical and mental body. And that there's no shame in feeling things, in being sensitive, in being imaginative and kind. Not just with people that we love, not just with people that we trust or by ourselves, but also in connection with the world, you know, in connection with other people out there. And so now this really continues, this intuitive shift, and our perspective about feelings and being sensitive is being moved even further to go from perceiving it as a weakness to allowing it to be not only our strength, but perhaps even a necessity in the world that we live in now. Things have changed a lot. And so as best as you can, you know, allow yourself to be in a quiet, receptive state, especially on the day of the eclipse. And better still, also take the days immediately before and after the eclipse, you know, to either meditate or walk in nature or do some creative or spiritual things for yourself. Anything that supports going within and tapping into your inner divinity, that inner sensing place. And one thing that I do want to mention is that if you are like most of us who have work or obligations or things that you have to be doing during the time of the eclipse, at least take 5-minute breaks here and there, and if possible, you know, get quiet and be with yourself, you know, just your intuitive self, your feeling self, you know, and ask yourself in those moments, you know, what might be possible if I gave this to my body and my mind on a regular basis. You know, just that moment of quiet, just 5 minutes, even if it's just 2 minutes, it all counts, right? Whatever is possible. Don't make it about the amount of time. Just allow yourself to have that quiet time once in a while, you know, here and there. As you may recall, we're invited over the next 6 months to look at any disconnection from spirit or intuitive self. So really ask yourself over the next 6 months, what might a healthy connection with the energetic world feel like, with energy around me, within me? What might that feel like? And what if I were 5% more interested in my inner world and embraced whatever I discovered there? And the last question is, could I simply allow what is to be just for this now moment? And, feel free to really ask that last question whenever you want, whenever you can, throughout your day. Could I simply allow what is to be just for this now moment? And just that question in itself you're going to really experience a sort of sense of relaxation and dropping into the now moment, which is very powerful. So we're really invited to take actions that are aligned with intuition and really communicate our boundaries, perhaps even remove ourselves from situations if that's the loving thing to do in that moment for ourselves or for other people. So really think about that Pisces-Aries combination with this eclipse as, Aries being action, Pisces being intuition. So taking action that's in alignment with our intuition. So in other words, we really want to move with love rather than fear. We want to trust our inner sensing. And this is something we really need to relearn because we haven't really been conditioned into doing that or moving in that way with life, with ourselves. So we are very often conditioned to move with fear, to look to our mind or to the outside world for answers, and to close off or to protect ourselves. So ask yourself, for now, for the next 6 months, what results might I get if I tapped into my inner courage, my intuition, and compassion all at the same time? So ask yourself that again. And between now and March 12th, allow for the new templates to download, whatever needs to come in so that you're moving to the next level of your soul evolution. Stay centered. Do your best to ground from within. Try using conscious breathing. Flexibility is very powerful at this time. And see if you can move to the observer position when it comes to the emotional and mental body. That can be very powerful too. Just allow yourself to really go within and zoom out. That's kind of like the observer position. It's like this going inside and widening your approach of what you're seeing, right? And then just look at your emotional and mental body in that way. And remember, this eclipse season, of course, is not going to last forever. In another 2 weeks, the downloads will be completed. And so then you can start to integrate everything that has come through and start to move forward again fully. Okay. Now, if you have an ascendant or any personal planets in 3 to 13 degrees of Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, or Sagittarius, you're definitely going to feel the effects of this solar eclipse more fully. But for all of us, we're definitely feeling this eclipse in some way or another. Again, especially if you have Aries signatures in your chart. So as I mentioned before already, even if you don't have personal planets in those degrees and signs, the house placement in your natal chart is equally as important. Take a look at where is 8 degrees of Pisces, where does that land in your chart? Or feel free to, watch our last monthly forecasting forum. And if you just want to look at the how to read your birth chart video, that's available as well to see how you can look at your birth chart in that way. And that video, by the way, is also a great video to watch before you join our monthly forecasting forum for the first time if you haven't joined us yet before, or especially if you're not so familiar with astrology. That's a great video to watch. So I want to make a quick announcement before we talk about setting intentions for this solar eclipse cycle. The next best thing besides getting one-on-one readings with me, which of course you're all also welcome to do, if you want to connect with me personally via Skype or Zoom or FaceTime or whatever device works for you. The next best thing is really joining me at the time of the monthly forecasting forums, because we will use our birth charts actively. We will look to see how the upcoming energies each month impact us personally by looking at where these energy patterns land in our birth charts. So that's very powerful to really get that support, especially since it's affordable to do these monthly forecasting forums, or a lot less than doing a one-on-one reading with me. And since we have a lot of stations and retrograde phases coming up in March and April, I want to invite you to connect with me for the March forecasting forum. The first thing that we'll talk about will be the Venus retrograde in Aries, and then also the Saturn retrograde in Sagittarius. So if you want to know how these phases are going to impact you personally, definitely join us on Monday, March 13th at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time, 9 p.m. London time. And you can sign up to join the webinar live or register to receive an MP4 video recording within 24 hours of the live event. Both of those things are possible. You know, if you're not able to join live because the timing doesn't work out, definitely feel free to also sign up for the recording. And again, besides these one-on-one readings that I have, this is really the highest support that you can get, and it's only $24 for the 90-minute webinar. So register now on my website at astrologercoach.com by clicking on the link below the Saturn and Sagittarius video. And please also fill out the online form as well as making the payment that is on that monthly forecasting forum page towards the bottom of that page. Because that form lets me know if you're going to be joining live or not. And also you can ask questions in advance. So if you're not able to join live, for example, you can ask a question in advance, and I will be answering everyone's questions towards the end of the webinar as much as that's possible. And so please also ask questions related to what we covered during the webinar, because that's most helpful to you and to everyone that's watching the webinar. So now, let's talk about new moon intentions. My God, that was so much. All right, so new moon intentions, especially these solar eclipse intentions, right? They are much more powerful because we're setting intentions for the whole eclipse cycle, which is a 6-month cycle, right? So we're planting seeds for the next 6 months. So with eclipses, intentions are best done 48 hours after the new moon becomes exact, so not right after with a regular new moon intention. We want to wait 48 hours because we're receiving all these downloads during the time of the eclipse. And so we're really wanting to wait until the energy of those downloads subsides a little bit before we tap into what it is that we want to set intentions about. And we also always want to avoid moon void of course phases when we're setting our intentions. So this month, the best and most potent time to set these intentions and plant seeds for the next 6 months are any time on February 28th after 9:58 a.m. until 9:18 p.m. on March 1st, and then again on March 2nd after 2:43 a.m. until 9:58 a.m. And all of that is East Coast time, New York time. So if you do live in a different time zone, feel free to plug in those times into a time zone converter online. Or you can also just feel free to join me on my Facebook fan page or on my Twitter page. I will be posting whenever those most potent times are to set your eclipse intentions at those times. And then you just, as you're receiving those messages, you can just set your intentions at that time. And for now, though, until it's time to set your intentions, feel free to ask yourself any of the questions that I mentioned in the video. Again, all the questions from this video are also available on my website at astrologercoach.com via my weekly forecasts after February 19th. And you can also sign up to receive my weekly forecast via email at info@astrologercoach.com. Just send us an email and write weekly forecasts into the subject line, and then we'll add you to that mailing list. And for more info about setting new moon or eclipse intentions in particular, go to my Facebook fan page and check out the notes section from your computer. Unfortunately, that can't be accessed from an iPhone or an Android phone. So you have to do it from your computer. Or on my website, if you go to weekly forecast and then look for astrology articles on the left side of the page, within that page of astrology articles, I will also have an article on setting eclipse intentions, new moon eclipse intentions. And lastly, I just want to mention, if you don't want to receive emails from me every week, you can also sign up for my newsletter, which goes out twice a month. And my newsletter always includes each video that I record, announcements that I make about either my business or courses or the monthly forecasting forums, and also special offers that I have each month And so that's available as well. So if you want to receive those, just email us at info@astrologercoach.com and just write newsletter in the subject line. And that's it for today. If you have any personal questions or general questions for me, feel free to either book a reading on my webpage or, feel free to connect with us for the next monthly forecasting forum on March 13th. All right. So have a good one. This is Astrologer Coach Sonja Francis. Goodbye.